In order to try to recognize the nature of mind, we must first leave the mind in a very relaxed, open, and uncontrived state. Certain activities force the mind to focus on something, thus diverting it from its natural condition. For example, in the practice of the development stage, we train to concentrate the mind upon the deity and its attributes. Likewise, when reciting a mantra, we concentrate upon reciting all the syllables and remembering the benefit of the mantra. In both these examples, the mind is maintained in a state of concentration that is somehow artificial. By contrast, in the uncontrived state, there is no effort to focus the mind on any concrete support. Simply let it rest and try to be aware of the present mind, fresh and uncontrived. Although we speak of a present mind, it is not a graspable entity. If we search for the mind in the head, the chest, the heart, or other parts of the body, and try to identify whether it has any shape or color, the more we look, the more we realize that we cannot find anything that can be defined as the mind. Is the mind nothing at all then? This cannot be said either. The mind is constantly aware of outer and inner phenomena. It reacts to external conditions. If it sees an image of the Buddha, it will conceive faith and be inspired to take refuge and ask for blessings. If someone creates a disturbance or causes irritation, faith will be lost immediately and turn into anger. The mind is constantly changing. The right way to investigate the nature of mind is not to perpetuate past thoughts, not to invite the arising of future thoughts, and to remain in the present in a balanced state. The mind should be neither distracted by outer objects, nor excessively withdrawn into a state of apathy. Let it rest in a relaxed and open state. Remain in such a state without trying to conceive thoughts of devotion and compassion, without being distracted by outer events or invaded by anger and attachment. Simply allow the mind to remain as it is, fully aware. This is called mindfulness. Just as a young child cannot be left alone, but needs the constant attention of his parents so he won't get lost, mindfulness is necessary so that the mind won't get lost in distraction. To cultivate mindfulness is very important in order to progress in recognizing the nature of mind. Mindfulness is not something that is acquired right away. Perseverance is needed. We must be mindful in all circumstances, not just while resting in the state of meditative evenness. While eating, walking, and so on, it is important to be constantly alert and vigilant in watching the condition of the mind. When beginners try to remain in a state of evenness, they will first reach a state where there are neither positive thoughts, such as devotion, faith, or compassion, nor negative thoughts, such as anger and craving. This is just a foggy dullness, an amorphous state where there are neither good nor bad, virtuous nor unvirtuous thoughts. Such a state, which is devoid of natural brightness or lucidity, is called Nam Tong Mewa in Tibetan, which means something like dark torpor or opaque confusion. It is just an amorphous state about which nothing much can be said. One cannot say that it is like this or it is like that because it is devoid of vipassana, the superior insight that brings a deeper, clearer understanding of the nature of mind. The limited, indescribable state of simply dwelling in complete quiescence or stillness is plain shamatha. Mental darkness is caused by the 84,000 obscuring emotions that completely envelop the mind. These emotions arise from basic consciousness, which is synonymous with ignorance. Marikpa is basic ignorance, or not knowing. That is, not seeing, not hearing, and above all, not knowing what is the path to enlightenment. This amorphous state of mind cannot be easily defined because it has no clear characteristics. There is the feeling that there is something, but it cannot be said that it is here or there in the body, in the eyes, the lungs, the heart, or the brain, or anywhere else. Basically, it is just complete dullness or mental darkness, which is neither virtue nor non-virtue. It is longmaten or undetermined, something that cannot be defined through reasoning. How does that mental darkness first occur? Every sentient being has the Buddha nature. Fundamentally, there is no such thing as ignorance or unknowing or unawareness. Where does the concept of subject and object come from then? It appears when the phenomenal manifestation first arises out of the primordial ground of Buddha nature. Perceiving this manifestation as being something other than oneself, other than the primordial nature of mind, is the very root of ignorance and mental darkness. Yet, that delusion does not belong to the Buddha nature. Just as tints on a piece of gold, which mask its true quality, do not belong to the gold itself. Likewise, the obscurations of ignorance are temporarily attached to the Buddha nature, but don't belong to it. What obscures the Buddha nature is the amorphous consciousness, an incidental veil extraneous to the Buddha nature. That is the first thing the mind comes up against when it tries to look at its own nature. Beginners encounter this state of mental darkness because the lucidity of awareness, beyond concepts, has not yet arisen to illuminate the darkness. Therefore, the amorphous consciousness is not genuine true meditation. As the prayer of Samantabhadra describes, the vacant state of not thinking of anything is itself the cause of ignorance and confusion. This dull state is the source of delusion. How then is the true nature of mind to be discovered? By letting the mind look at itself, letting it rest in a state of simplicity and watching its nature. The mind is not something that can be looked at with the eyes or grasped with the hands. The mind has to look at itself. What we need to do is not to analyze this mental darkness discursively. Rather, we have to first let the mind rest in a state of complete naturalness or simplicity, just as it is. without falling into distraction. A state will be soon attained that is free from obvious movements of the mind, such as aversion for enemies, unpleasant feelings, or attraction toward pleasant things. This state is also free from the opaque dullness that one experienced before. It is a state that is lucid, clear, and spacious, like the experience of looking into the vast sky. There is a feeling of both immensity and clarity, a state of openness that allows awareness to unfold, just as physical space allows mountains and continents and a whole universe to manifest. It is an awareness that has no inside, no outside, that is all-encompassing and transparent like the sky. The quality of space is total openness. If space were solid, then when we spoke to someone, the words would not reach that person. Neither would there be a way to move within space, nor for phenomena to appear. Such a state is recognized only through one's experience. It cannot be described. What is actually looked at, which is the state of open awareness, and what looks at it, which is awareness itself, are not two different things, one looking at the other. It is simply a state of sheer awareness, of natural clarity. In the previous state of dullness, one maintains in a state of confusion and doubt, thinking, is that the nature of the mind? Or is it something else? But when we experience awareness, there is no more hesitation. There is an unmistakable understanding and recognition of what the teacher indicated to be the nature of mind. We may think, this is it. There will be a clear-cut conviction that there is nothing other than that to be found. Nonetheless, this is still not something that can be expressed. One can try to say something about it, but it cannot be defined in words, because by nature it is indescribable and beyond all conceptual limitations, such as it exists or it does not exist. It is not an object like a pot, which has a certain shape, color, and size. Neither is it pure nothingness, a blank state devoid of any quality. Can it be said then that it is something existing and non-existing at the same time, or that it is neither existing nor non-existing? These are just more incorrect concepts. No matter how much we try, we cannot describe awareness in words. When recognition of awareness arises, it is not as though it has been given to us by our spiritual teacher, nor is it something that was not there before and is now born in our mind. Rather, awareness is the natural continuity of something that has been present forever, the pure, void, primordial clarity of mind. Why is it called Rigpa, or pure awareness? It is Rigpa because it has a faculty of being aware of everything, as opposed to Marikpa, unawareness, basic ignorance, which does not know anything. Awareness is different from deluded mind in that awareness is totally free from clinging. The recognition of awareness corresponds to the first of the three concepts in the three words that strike the vital point. to be introduced to one's own nature. Why were we dwelling in a state of mental darkness before? Well, because the clarity of wisdom was lacking. Now there is a clear awareness that illuminates everything, like the sun rising at dawn and shedding light on the whole world. The state of opacity gradually becomes clearer and clearer, just as at the moment of dawn, there is first a faint light, and then the sky becomes brighter and brighter. This is why, in the beginning stages of meditation, we meet and deal only with this mental opacity. But that should not cause us to abandon meditation. We should try meditating on that obscure state, which is like a veil, since at the core of its many layers, the true nature of awareness is to be found. But divesting awareness of its veils of deluded mind is not something that can be done by force, like peeling the skin off a fruit. Awareness will appear of its own accord when the right conditions are present. When it arises, there is complete certainty that one has correctly recognized what the teacher indicated and what is mentioned in profound teachings on the great perfection, such as Longchen Rabjan's Chowing Jo, or Treasure of the Absolute Expanse. When an egg hatches and breaks open, we clearly see the qualities of the baby bird, the color of its feathers, and other features. Likewise, when awareness is no longer encased within the eggshell of deluded mind, unobstructed awareness is revealed. By continuously blending luminous emptiness with awareness, it will be possible to have a direct experience of this naked awareness.